Hey friends, it's me, Brett. This is a gentle therapeutic stretch for those of you with low back pain, or maybe you just slept wrong and your low back feels ouch. It's extremely beginner friendly. You don't need any props or even any yoga experience. Let's stretch it out.
It's time to feel uplifted.
To begin, come to lie down on your back, soles of feet on the floor. And right away, just begin to notice if one side of your low back feels more connected to the ground than the other side of your low back. So often for many of us, one side of our sacrum, for example, or one of our, like the area of your hip, if you think of it that way, might feel heavier and more connected to the ground than the other side. And if they feel even, that's great too. But just take a moment to notice. Does one side of the low back, hip, sacrum feel weightier? And just breathe. And then gently pull the right knee into the chest. And you're just gonna let this left leg go long and give it a little bit of bouncing. You could hear I cracked right away. Just kind of let it bounce up and down. You can take it a little bit out to the side if you want, not too much, a little bit across the body, but not too much. Just let it keep bouncing. A little gentle abdominal engagement here. All right, that's good. And then take both soles of feet to the floor again. Close your eyes, let your low back really settle and press down into the mat. And notice if anything shifted or changed. We'll do the same thing on the left. So pulling the left knee into the chest. This time the right leg extends and just does some of those bounces. This should not be like huge violent bouncing that strains your low back. You can keep it really small. We're just trying to kind of work out any kinks in sacrum, SI joint area before we continue the rest of class. All right, and then both soles of feet on the floor and just observe. Maybe let your low back dip deeper into the ground. Take your shoulders a little bit more towards the top of your sticky mat. See if there's any length you found. And coming into Apanasana. So you're just going to hold your kneecaps. Visualize your two sitting bones like eyeballs that want to peer down towards your sticky mat. So keeping that in your mind's eye. On the inhale, straighten your elbows. Let the kneecaps move away from you. Think of crushing a penny with your tailbones. Your tailbone also yearns forward. Those eyeballs of your sits bones yearn forward, and keep that. Exhale, bend the elbows, bringing the knees back in. So again, this is subtle. Breathing in. Eyeballs of the sits bones peering down towards your sticky mat. And they keep peering down even as you bend the elbows and the knees come back in. Just do this 2 more times on your own. When we're working with low back pain or wanting to stretch this area, it's the most gentle, therapeutic movements that really have the most effect. Nice. Take the soles of the feet to the floor. Lift your hips up and take the hips 2 or 3 inches over to the left. Allow your right leg to straighten. Left knee, you're going to pull it into the chest. And then straighten the leg. Doesn't matter how much. This isn't about a stretch or anything like that. You're just going to let that left leg drift over to the right. It's okay if this the left hip comes up off the mat, and then come back up. And over to the left. Again, think of this as more as like we're finding more space in the sacrum, on the left side of the sacrum, then we're not trying to get an IT band stretch or hamstring stretch or anything like that. You're just kind of rocking here. And now just look straight up towards the ceiling. 1 or 2 more. Again, this isn't about flexibility. Hopefully you're starting to feel maybe the left side of your low back sacrum open up. Nice. Good. Take the soles of the feet to the floor. Bring your hips back to center. And then really pause here and notice the difference between the two sides. Left side of the low back, sacrum and hip, how it feels connected to the mat as compared to the right. Eyes closed, deep breaths. Lift the hips up as you press into the soles of the feet. Take the hips 2 or 3 inches to the right. Let the left leg go long and the right leg go up just as much as to your ability. If, the leg's way down here, you can always keep the knee bent to do this exercise, right? And we're just taking the knee over and back up. Over and back up. And of course, if you had the leg straight on the first side, right? Straight over, this is more intense. Back up. It's this area that we're focused on bringing in some gentle movement and mobility. Forget about a hamstring stretch. Forget about IT band stretch. It's all about the low back right now. Good. And then when you're ready, soles of the feet down. Lift the hips, bring the hips back to center. And let's just do a couple bridges here. So you can just keep your arms in a goalpost shape, or you can do like little robot arms like I'm showing here, the biceps pressing down, fingertips up. Just gonna lift into your bridge and look straight at the ceiling. Just a couple. Think of your tailbone lengthening towards your knees. And make these slow. Good. And then take your feet a little bit wider apart. So a little bit wider than a hip width. And just do a couple more. Inhale to lift, exhale to lower. And now bring the big toes to touch, so the feet narrower than the hips. Just 5. Inhale to lift, exhale to lower. When you're done, you can pull the knees into the chest, roll to the right side. Gently press yourself up. And just sit with your legs long in front of you, or if that's uncomfortable, you can just sit with the soles of the feet on the ground and just notice how your low back feels. Again, it may not feel like this crazy stretch per se, but maybe it feels a little bit more wide and open, relaxed. And we'll close with Janu Shirsasana, which is more of a traditional stretch, but I think is so much more effective after we've stabilized the low back in this way. So right foot into the left inner groin. And just for our focus today, we won't even take the arms up. We'll just press down into the left thigh, lift the heart, and then exhale, fold forward. You can keep the hands right here, hold anywhere on the thigh, shin, or foot. And just take 5 slow, deep breaths. Lean a little bit over to the left. And notice if that opens up a stretch in a different way along the right side of the low back for you. Just kind of like your weight and your torso sort of fall left. And we're not reaching for the foot or trying to feel a hamstring stretch or anything like that. Just keep the hips heavy and the head heavy, and it's okay for the torso to round. And then take the weight of the torso over to the right. Notice if there's anything interesting there. Maybe back over to the left. It's always more interesting to me. And if you do feel sensation, really send your breath into that area of the low back. And then walk your hands up and just switch the legs. So right leg long, left sole of foot into the groin, interlace the hands, press the right thigh down, breathe in, lift the heart, and exhale, fold. Again, we don't care about a hamstring stretch so much, but it is great to keep this right foot really flexed and powerful. And then chin into chest, head heavy like a bowling ball. You can hold here for a couple breaths, or right away start kind of playing like I did on the first side, rocking and sending your body weight over to the right and looking for a stretch on the left side of the low back. Take the body weight over to the left just to see what that feels like if you want. Two more breaths. Good. Gently walk yourself back up. Come to a cross-legged seat. Bring the hands to prayer at heart center to close your practice. Just take a couple breaths here, breathing down into the low back, the hips. Noticing if anything has shifted for you, feel more space. And I'm sending you so much love from my heart to yours. Namaste. Hey, if you like this video, you are going to love my free Pure Beginner Master the Basics yoga class. Not only do I cover the top 10 yoga poses you're most likely to encounter as a beginner, but I give you a downloadable cheat sheet showing you exactly how to do each of these moves so you know you're doing them correctly. Let's banish the fear and confusion of doing it wrong. Let's master the basics together. Go to brettlarkin.com/beginner for your free download, and I'll see you on the mat. Namaste.